Hello and welcome to CIBER Focus, your source for international business information. I'm your host, Tim Smith, and our guest today is Professor Erica Kovacs. Professor Kovacs is a clinical assistant professor in the Management and Entrepreneurship Department here at the Kelley School of Business at Indiana University. She received her PhD degree in business from the UFPE school in Brazil. Erica has worked in multinational firms such as Philips and Rayoac. Is that how I say it?
Yes, that's correct.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tim.
She focuses on international business and strategy. Today, we'll discuss Brazil's economy, as well as Professor Kovacs' recently taught Global Business Immersion course here at the Kelley School of Business for undergraduate students, focusing on transformation and economic growth in Brazil. At the conclusion of the spring course, the group traveled to Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro, giving Kelley students an authentic and meaningful global business experience. Erica, thank you so much for coming in to speak with me today.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Oh, obrigado. Thank you so much.
No.
I'm working on that.
Good. Okay.
Well, great. So let's start with Brazil's economy. I believe you wrote that Brazil's economic growth is full of contradictions. So please tell us a little bit about that. Tell us more about the contradictions in Brazil's economy.
Well, when the U.S. was facing a big recession here, 2008, 2009, Brazil had an economic growth of about 5% per year. And then our recession actually started in 2014, right? And then we are still recovering from the recession. So just 2017 and 18, we started to show some kind of recovery, about 1%, 1.5 growth per year. And then last year we had a new president elected. So it was a completely different shift, right, from the left side and now to the extreme right wing. So there is a lot of contradictions and a lot of question marks about what is going to happen with the Brazilian economy. So we read some articles that are very optimistic about it. Some others not as much in terms of social aspects. But we've seen some kind of recovery. Still, the unemployment rate is kind of high, about 13%, right? The exchange rate, of course, has been very vulnerable due to Argentina, what is happening recently in Argentina. But I think one of the main points, Tim, is that Brazil has a lot of contradictions in terms of in terms of its economy, especially in terms of wealth distribution. So Brazil has 209 million inhabitants, 210 million inhabitants now. And we have only 5% of this population in the top of the pyramid, right? They earn more than 5 minimum wages per month. It's a little bit different than here. And we have 50% of the population with less than 1 minimum salary per month. So that brings a lot of different markets for companies, either in the very luxury segment or in the middle class.
Okay. Yeah. Well, great. I appreciate it. You know, when I think, I was thinking about Brazil's population, and I was thinking about 150, 160 million, 210 million. And I think I saw in the top 10 countries on the global economic map, Brazil passed France, I think, now.
Brazil
is number
is
8.
It's now 9.
Oh,
yes,
okay,
9,
thanks.
but 8 on purchasing power parity, right?
Okay.
So it's number 9 or yes.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a big economy, right?
Certainly,
yes.
yeah, and we're so glad you're here to talk to us about it today. So thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
So let's talk about your trip with the students to Brazil. You returned in May, mid-May, I believe you went, as part of the Kelley School X272 Global Business Immersion courses. So help us better understand, why did you decide to teach this course? And I can make assumptions, but I'd rather have you tell us why Brazil. Why'd you take them there?
Well, first I'm Brazilian, right? So I have a little bias about Brazil. And so I wanted to show them, I'm passionate about international business. That's really my big passion. And I wanted to spread this out to the students. I wanted to show them what is to do international business, what is to deal with different cultures and so on. So I think nothing better than taking them to my home country, and that's where I really know about the culture, about the food. So it was really a great experience. We had a group of 23 students. We went to Rio and São Paulo. We visited a lot of companies, big companies such as Natura, right, that acquired Avon and acquired the Body Shop recently. We also went to Nubank, that's a unicorn. They have already, it's a bank. Actually, it's changing the banking system in Brazil. Now they are in Mexico as well. And we went to other companies, but I think the most interesting part, Tim, was a case competition. We had a class in Brazil where we had 16 Brazilian students with our 23 Kelley students, and they were able to have some classes together, and then they did a case competition at Ambev, the brewery. Yeah,
I read that. That's great.
So it was really a very interesting cultural learning process for them, how to work with Brazilians online first, and then working together in groups so they could feel the cultural differences in practice, right? Oh, Brazilians are more indirect. Or what about how do we work with different time zones or different schedules? So they did a great job presenting that, and they were able to learn a lot with these Brazilian students, as well as the Brazilian students learned a lot with our
That reciprocal learning is so valuable, right? The win-win that we're all trying to achieve. And I'm amazed, Erica, because when I hear from students about going abroad or studying in a foreign country and taking a risk, they always tell me that the risk was absolutely worth it. And they say, these people are surprisingly like me.
Exactly. Yes. There are a lot of similarities as well. So yes, they can see the differences, but a lot of it's not that different as well. We share a lot of the same values and same.
Well, tell me a little bit more about some of the feedback from the students. What were some of the memorable comments that some of the students shared with you about their experience in Brazil?
Okay. Well, so first, at the end of the course, they were very happy, and they wrote a learning log about everything that they learned during this trip. But I think the most important result was now, after they came back, I got quite a few requests for letter of recommendations for study abroad. So that means that it opened their mind. And I would say that at least half of the class, or even more than half of the class, now is planning to study abroad, right?
Excellent. Well, I think it's time we talk to Dean Kestner about making study abroad mandatory.
Yes, I totally agree, yes.
Great. Well, she'll be happy to hear this. We'll talk to her about it offline. But how exciting. I studied abroad as an undergraduate. It was one of the best parts of my undergraduate degree experience. Did you get to do the same or something similar? Yeah.
I was in Fargo, North Dakota when I was in high school. Yes.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, that's great. Thanks.
Yes.
Well, one more question. So, how do you feel the Kelley School of Business is giving our students a global business perspective? Maybe we could talk a little bit more about why does this matter?
Tim, this is so important. This is so important. I think, first we have, in this short term, we had 400 students traveling to 17 different countries in May.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic. And then we have quite a few students coming from other countries to study in our classes. And I think we have about 600 students also studying a semester abroad. I think that really opens their minds in terms of cultural awareness, and this is so important in today's world, right? So cultural awareness, leading with differences, learning and leading with differences, right? So I think we do a great job in sending, I think 60% of our students have the chance of studying abroad, and I hope we increase this number. Yeah,
so when I was with the MBA program for so many years, it was so great to see that number increasing. And then the Globase consulting project short trips were created. And then the takeaways, I think, are exponentially greater because they're forced, as it were, to assimilate, understand, listen, adapt, be flexible, and all those skills are so sought after by the companies that are recruiting our students. So I'm excited. I too am passionate about international business, and I hope we'll continue to grow as a school and be the first movers for the next iteration of what that may look like.
Yes.
Great. Well, anything else you'd share with us about the trip or anything else you'd like to see realized here as far as international business?
Well, I would love to have the required study abroad program.
Okay.
That would be awesome.
We can work on that.
But I think that makes such a big difference in terms of, even if they don't work with international, they are going to work with people from other countries and so on. So even if you are not co-majoring in international business, being abroad, it's extremely important for your, not only your professional life, but your personal life as well. So yeah, that's my belief. And being able to help these students is really rewarding for me. Yep.
Absolutely. Erica, thank you so much for coming in today. It's a great pleasure to talk to you and learn more about your recent trip. I look forward to hearing about the next one.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's all the time we have for this edition of CIBER Focus. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any comments or suggestions for future topics, please let us know at CIBER, that's CIBER, @indiana.edu.